Hello everyone, welcome to Hyder Explains. We're diving into another incredible mystery. So sit back, relax, let's uncover the truth together. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Let's get started.
Picture this. It's July 25th, 2000. Air France Flight 4590 is sitting right there on the runway in Paris, gearing up for New York. But this isn't just your standard passenger flight. No, this is the Concorde. We're talking the world's most luxurious, most prestigious, and literally the fastest commercial airplane ever built. And for 25 years, it had an absolutely flawless safety record. 0 crashes. But on this specific summer afternoon, the unthinkable was about to happen. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to break down exactly why this absolute pinnacle of aviation suddenly fell right out of the sky, and how one extremely fast disaster changed the entire course of history. When the news broke, it was this exact headline that sent absolute shockwaves across the globe. The world's most prestigious aircraft crashes. More than 100 people are dead. The public simply could not believe it. Up until that exact moment, the Concorde basically had a reputation similar to the Titanic before its faithful voyage. People genuinely thought it was invincible. It was the ultimate status symbol, a total marvel of modern engineering that, well, it just didn't crash. But to really grasp the sheer gravity of this moment, we first need to understand what made this aircraft so exceptionally special in the first place. Okay, let's dive into Section 1, the prestige of supersonic, the peak of Concorde. Because to really comprehend the magnitude of this downfall, we've got to look at the absolute peak of its prestige. The sheer physics of supersonic flight are just fascinating. The term supersonic literally just means traveling faster than the speed of sound, which at sea level is roughly 1,236 kilometers per hour. We measure this using a unit called Mach. Now, when an aircraft actually travels faster than sound, the sound waves it generates start to overlap with each other. This creates a massive, super sudden release of air pressure. It's kind of like popping a giant balloon with a pin, but on a massive scale. And that results in a totally deafening, thunder-like explosion that we all know as a sonic boom. And this incredible speed, it creates a truly mind-bending contrast. Think about a standard subsonic jet, the kind you and I usually fly on. They cruise at about 900 kilometers per hour, which is Mach 0.8. A flight from Paris to New York on one of those takes about 8 hours, right? But the Concorde? It flew at a blistering 2,160 kilometers per hour. That is Mach 2.0. You could cross the entire Atlantic Ocean in just 3.5 hours. It essentially let passengers arrive before they even left. That was actually their famous tagline. Now, as you might guess, this level of speed and technology definitely didn't come cheap. $20,000. If you account for inflation, that is the modern-day equivalent cost for a single round-trip ticket between Paris and New York. So yeah, this wasn't just transportation. It was an exclusive club in the sky. The cabin was literally packed with the world's biggest superstars, politicians, business elites, all sipping champagne and eating caviar at 60,000 feet. And for 25 years, it justified that massive price tag with an immaculate safety record. But that perfect record ended in mere minutes. So let's shift our focus, slow things right down, and do a really microscopic forensic breakdown of exactly why it happened so incredibly fast. Section 2, Anatomy of the Crash, Flight 4590. Let's walk through this terrifyingly rapid sequence of events. At 4 p.m., the plane is loaded up and totally ready to go. At 4:40 p.m., it begins its high-speed takeoff roll down the runway. But just seconds later, air traffic control spots a fire erupting right beneath the plane. They immediately radio the pilot. But here's the truly horrifying reality of supersonic takeoffs. The plane was already moving way too fast. It was past the point of no return. It was completely too late to safely abort the flight. So the plane takes off, and the pilots are desperately trying to level it out and cut the engines. But just minutes later, entirely out of control, it crashes into a hotel 15 kilometers away from Paris. So, you gotta wonder, what on earth brought down this billion-dollar state-of-the-art machine? A tiny 17-inch piece of metal. Seriously. Investigators eventually discovered that an airplane taking off just before the Concorde had dropped a small bit of metal right onto the runway. It is almost impossible to fathom how such a tiny, seemingly insignificant anomaly could instantly destroy the world's most advanced aircraft. But it did, and it perfectly illustrates this fatal chain reaction that doomed the flight. First, as the Concorde is speeding down the runway, its tire strikes that 17-inch metal bit, violently slashing the rubber. Second, these huge chunks of the destroyed tire fly up and strike the underside of the plane's left wing at incredible velocity. Third, this extreme impact creates a high-pressure shockwave that actually bursts the fuel tank from the inside out before the plane even leaves the ground. Finally, as jet fuel is literally pouring out of the ruptured tank, the intense heat and the high RPM of the plane's wheels and engines instantly spark a massive fire. It's this microscopic chain of physics, all happening in a fraction of a second, leading to a sudden catastrophic crash.
The tragic outcome of that microscopic chain reaction. 109. All 100 passengers and all 9 crew members on board lost their lives. This single devastating event didn't just end those lives, it permanently altered the trajectory of aviation history.
The illusion of the Concorde's invincibility was completely shattered, which brings us to Section 3, the fall of an icon, end of an era. Now, while the crash was absolutely the ultimate catalyst, there were these compounding underlying issues that really sealed the Concorde's fate. First, of course, was their ruined safety reputation, right? The empty seats spoke volumes. But the timing was also just terrible. Flights were reintroduced in late 2001, right during the post-9/11 era, when global fear of air travel was at an absolute peak. On top of that, people living under the flight paths were increasingly protesting the excruciating noise of those sonic booms. Add in the fact that the Concorde consumed 4 times more fuel than a standard passenger jet and required a staggering £1 billion annually just in maintenance for British Airways, well, the economics simply no longer made sense. And all of that leads us to this date, October 24, 2003, the final commercial flight of the Concorde. This is a genuinely fascinating and incredibly rare moment in modern history. Usually we see technology continuously marching forward, right? But on this day, technology actually regressed. Humanity intentionally took a step backward, grounding commercial supersonic travel for decades to come. But, as you know, humanity never stays grounded for long. Let's bring our energy back up for Section 4, Return of Supersonic, Future of Flight. Because the era of supersonic speed is gearing up for a major comeback. Innovators right now are actively learning from the ashes of the Concorde. Take the Boom Overture, for example. It's a brand new aircraft currently in development, and major airlines like United have actually already placed orders for it. Now, while the Overture will be slightly slower than the Concorde, flying at Mach 1.7 instead of 2.0, it is specifically designed to solve the fatal environmental and economic flaws of its predecessor. It's going to use sustainable aviation fuel and aims to be manufactured using net zero carbon emissions methods. If all goes according to plan, we could see these cutting-edge jets hitting the skies by 2029, literally cutting a 7-hour flight from Dubai to Singapore down to just 4 hours. Which really leaves us with the ultimate question. Would you fly supersonic in 2029? After seeing how the Concorde pushed the absolute limits of physics, only to be brought down by a 17-inch piece of metal, are you ready to break the sound barrier? The dream of arriving before you leave is closer to returning than ever, but the critical lessons of Air France Flight 4590 will absolutely always remain. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep questioning what the very future of flight will look like.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe to Hyder Explains, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next mystery. See you in the next video.